So the New York Times just released some breaking news regarding the Breonna Taylor case, and to be honest with you, it's probably going to make you sick to your stomach, honestly. But we're going to talk about it anyway. What's up, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream breaking news report of Mikasa Sukasa. And of course, as always, I'm your humble host, Niko House. Before we get started, I would like to ask you to share this video. I would like to ask you to like this video. And of course, most importantly, I would like to ask you to share this video because I feel like this message needs to be put out for all of the naysayers, for all of the people who have been caping for the police state, for all the people who have been caping for a corrupt criminal justice system, for all the people who have been caping that claim that they want a real and big government, and government is inherently corrupt. But when it comes to the ending of black lives, when it comes to protecting the corrupt criminal justice system, and a criminal justice system that completely and totally disregards due process for those who are not wealthy and elite, this story is for y'all. Because I feel like they need to hear this more than anyone else, to be completely honest with you. That breaking news is that a grand juror, in Breonna Taylor's case says that the deliberations were misrepresented. Now, what do they mean by that? Let's figure that out. The Kentucky Attorney General's office said it would, actually, this is interesting. So I just refreshed this article and they changed the headline, which is, they probably caught some flack for it. I'm gonna tell you why. A juror in Breonna Taylor's case contends that the Kentucky Attorney General misrepresented the grand jury's deliberations and failed to offer the panel the option of indicting the two officers who fatally shot the young woman, according to the juror's attorney. Let me say that again. A juror in Breonna Taylor's case contends that the Kentucky Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, misrepresented the grand jury deliberations and failed to offer the panel the option of indicting the two officers who fatally shot the young woman, according to that juror's attorney. Yes, you heard that correctly. The unnamed juror filed a court motion on Monday seeking the release of last week's transcripts and permission from a judge to speak publicly to set the record straight. Hours later, the Office of the Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, granted both requests, saying that the juror is free to speak and the recordings would be released to the public. The attorney said this is something where the juror is not seeking any fame, any acclaim, nor any money. Mr. Glogwar said the juror came to him last week in a state of turmoil after Mr. Cameron repeatedly said at a news conference, Mr. Cameron being the Attorney General, that the law did not permit him to charge Sergeant John Mattingly and Detective Miles Cosgrove, the two white officers who shot Mrs. Taylor, a black woman, after one officer was shot by her boyfriend. And he also went on to say, of course, that the jury agreed with him. Cameron said this: while there are 6 possible homicide charges under Kentucky law, these charges are not applicable to the facts before us because our investigation showed, and the grand jury agreed, that Mattingly and Cosgrove were justified in the return of deadly fire after having been fired upon. Mr. Cameron said that was one of several moments, where Mr. Cameron said in the news conference, and emphasized the consensus of the grand jury and the court itself, believing that not only were the police officers not guilty of a homicide, but they were actually justified in killing an unarmed woman. Ladies and gentlemen, I just told you, in case you missed it, in a case where 2 officers killed an unarmed woman with a no-knock warrant, the grand jury of that case not only were not even given an option to indict those 2 officers on those charges, but the Attorney General then went out and pretended as if they were innocent, that the jury agreed that those officers were innocent. And let me be honest with you, people. I'm not surprised by any of this. Like I'm really not anymore. But the fact that sorry, give me a second. I'm trying to fix something. What's that? But the fact that there is a criminal justice system that is constantly protected and propped up by people who claim that the government is like inherently bad, when that same criminal justice system is literally sitting in front of a press conference and lying about what a grand jury said as far as this deliberations are concerned. The only option, by the way, that the grand jury was given was to indict the officer, Mr. Hankinson, I believe his name was, Officer Hankinson, who ran into the parking lot all gun-ho like Rambo, firing at Breonna Taylor's home. And of course, the bullets ended up flying into the neighbor's home. That's the only option they had. And of course, they were like, no, that wasn't self-defense. They indicted him on 3 counts of felony reckless endangerment. So if that jury indicted that officer on 3 counts of reckless endangerment, what do you think they felt about the officer or officers, that killed Breonna Taylor? And more importantly than anything else, why was that jury not given its due process? As in, why were they not allowed to fulfill their job? And then why is an attorney general allowed to then go and lie about a verdict that the grand jury never reached? Because this is our criminal justice system, people. Once again, just in case you missed it, this is what the attorney general said. While there are 6 possible homicide charges under Kentucky law, these charges are not applicable to the facts before us because our investigation showed and the grand jury agreed that Mattingly and Cosgrove were justified in their return of deadly fire after having been fired upon. That was the attorney general. The juror is saying they never said that. That was never mentioned. That was never the verdict. They didn't even have the option to reach that verdict. In other words, not only does the Attorney General Daniel Cameron need to be fired, but he needs to have charges pressed on him. There needs to be some level of accountability, because the fact that this man was so comfortable with lying means this is probably somewhat of a norm in their justice system, at least in Louisville. What makes matters worse is, once again, how we even arrived to this point, which is because that police unit specifically is called the Place-Based Investigations Unit. Do you know why that unit was put together? The Place-Based Investigations Unit was put together specifically to get Black and poor people out of these neighborhoods, because it is part of a quote-unquote revitalization project, which is actually a gentrification project called Version Russell or Visual Russell? Vision. There you go. Vision Russell. That's what it's called. In fact, 10 miles down the street where Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend lived, which is supposedly the reason why all of this stuff started, a lot of those houses and neighborhoods were destroyed. And the developers were able to buy the land for $1. So this is not only something that is just rotten to its core at the level of the criminal justice system, the police departments, but the municipality and the local government has been involved too. They were the ones who helped put this police unit together. Oh, but guess what? The federal government is also funding this project, this mass gentrification effort. And of course, the developers are paying off politicians wherever they need to get what they need. Like I said, they're buying land for $1. So if you're trying to figure out why the criminal justice system is trying to protect these police officers, it's because in their mind, the police officers did their job. That's why they're protecting them. But big government's the problem, right? I mean, yeah, I agree. But clearly, the people who claim that big government is a problem, at least for the most part, only care about when big government is infringing upon their rights. But when it's a black woman, a black man, police get to break the law all they want to. I would like to know what your thoughts are about this. Like this video, share this video, leave a comment below. But more than anything else, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, find your balance. Peace.